What's up, people? I'm Carlo. Today's video is going to be about how I edit my photos in Adobe Lightroom's mobile app. Along with that, I'll be comparing the app VSCO. I know it's been around for a long time now. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, but I'll be diving into the functionality of both of the apps and comparing the two to see which app might be the best fit for you, whether you're a professional photographer, amateur, or a person looking to edit their photos a little bit more or add a preset just for posting on Instagram or wherever. So let's get right into the edit of this photo. Before I get started editing in Lightroom, just wanted to share the final photo with you along with the raw photo that was taken on my iPhone X, just so you guys can see what the edit will be about. So yeah, let's get right to it now. Alright, so what's up guys? I am in Adobe Lightroom's mobile app currently. I'm going to select this photo right here. It is of an abandoned house I found on a hike in Delaware. Recently I've been really inspired by the movie Joker, directed by Todd Phillips, cinematographer Lawrence Sher. I really love the aesthetic and the colors that were portrayed throughout that film, so I'm going to kind of emulate that editing this photo. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of go to the light tab, adjust the exposure a little bit. I think it's a little too bright for my liking, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, bring back some of the highlights. Okay, next I'm just going to bump the contrast a little bit. See, that's a little too much, so I'm just going to bring it back just a slight bit. Highlights, I'm going to bring down just a little bit to bring back some of the detail. Shadows, I think I'm going to leave alone, but I'm just going to play with it real quick to see what I like. Maybe a tiny boost. Okay. Whites and blacks I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to the curves tabs next. I'm going to click three dots on each of the kind of conjoining points in the middle. I'm going to lower the shadows just a little bit to create a little bit more contrast. I'm going to boost some of the high highlights just to kind of bring that vibrance up a little bit. I'm going to see what the mid-tones kind of do as I play around with them. So I think I'm going to kind of leave it in the middle. For the bottom, normally I'd like to bring this bottom part up to give it that faded vintage look, but it is a little much, so maybe I'll just do it a tiny bit. Alright, so that's pretty much the basic adjustment for this photo. If you click and hold on the photo, it'll give you the before and after. So as you can see, the photo kind of does look already a bit better. So the next step is go to color. Typically, if I were just to edit this photo without any kind of reference point, I would just leave it like this because I think it's balanced pretty well. But since I'm kind of going for that Joker look, I'm going to make it a bit warmer and a bit kind of greener in a way. So let's take the temperature, bring it a little bit more towards the orange, warmer side. See, if you bring it all the way there, that's just way too much. Bring it all the way blue, it just looks ridiculous. So let's just kind of meet in the middle a little bit. I think that's pretty good. And the next most important part is the tint. And this is where you could bring the green to make it feel a little bit Joker-esque. Okay. This is normal. It's got a little bit of a purplish tint to it, so let's bring it to the green a little bit more. As you can see, that kind of changes the sky color as well. I think that's pretty good for me. A little before, after. So this is kind of giving me that Joker vibe a little bit. What I'm going to do is bring the vibrance up a little bit, but I'm going to bring the saturation down just a little bit to give it a bit of a flatter look. Okay, now I'm going to go to the mix window here, the color mix. I don't really see very many reds in here, so I'm not going to adjust that. I'm going to adjust some of the oranges though, if I do find any. There's not that many. So I'm going to go to the yellow, and that'll kind of work in with the green a little bit. So this is very green. I think I like it a little bit more yellow. Looks pretty good right there. I'm going to just darken it a little bit by the luminance. Okay, I'm going to go to the green. And this is where I think I might make it slightly more green. And then bump the luminance up just to make it a little bit brighter. Add a bit more saturation. the blue, I kind of want more of a teal blue. So let's see what we can do there. So if you bring the hue all the way to the right, it'll give you more of a deeper blue. I kind of want more of a teal. So let's kind of bring it to the left a little bit. Happy with that. And let's just darken the luminance a little bit to bring up some of that vibrance, saturation. Let's take a look before, after. Looks pretty good. It does remind me a bit of a Joker. Jeez. So let's bring that saturation back up. All right, and I think that's it for the color for this shot. Next, I'm gonna go to the effects tab. And here you see that there's texture, clarity, dehaze, and vignette. The only thing that I'm gonna do here is a bit of a dehaze, just to kind of darken the highlights a little bit and just make it a little bit more crisp. I'm not gonna really touch much of anything else. I do like to split tone, especially in a shot more specifically like a sunset or a sunrise. But for this one in particular, I think is pretty okay. For the detail, I'm gonna add a bit of sharpening. I'm gonna hold this image, go to mask. Just gonna go to mask. I'm gonna hold the image just so you can see what is being masked. Okay. So whatever I'm seeing here while holding the masking is what is getting sharpened. Okay, I'm gonna add a slight noise reduction, just a little bit. Boost the color noise reduction just a bit. Okay, seems pretty good. Optics, I'm just gonna enable lens correction, remove chromatic aberration. From here, the geometry, I'm pretty good with. Maybe I'll scale it in just a little bit. I like to have this, the subject, which is the house, a little bit on the lower frame, right around there. So as you can see in the top of the photo, there's a bit of white, so I need to scale in the image just a little bit more. All right, that's kind of, and I'm going to bring it to the right a little bit just to get that tree a little bit more in frame and to get that chimney right on that line. It's good for me. All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the selective tab over here. Go to the plus, and I'm gonna click the radial filter. I think that's what it's called, radius filter, radial. And I'm gonna highlight the house. And what I'm gonna do here is just bring down the highlights just a little bit more, just so we could see some more detail, some more grotesque detail in the house. As you can see, it's kind of moldy, stuff like that. So it just adds a bit more character. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna select the gradient. You can go from the corner. This is where the sun was coming from, so I'm gonna kind of emphasize that idea of where the sun is and just make it a little bit brighter. Press OK. And I think I'm pretty happy with this photo. Let's check the before. Let's check after. So I'm really happy with this photo. It does remind me of the Joker with a slight greenish tint. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm happy with this. I think next we're going to jump into VSCO and see how we can kind of create a similar image inside that platform. But for now, if you want to export this photo, you just click right here, this little square with the arrow. Click. Going to export to camera roll. It's going to render for a quick second. Okay, it's going to say one photo is successfully exported. So then you're going to go to your camera roll. And it's going to be right there. All right, so let's hop into VSCO next. All right, so now that you saw the Lightroom edit of this photo, before I hop into the VSCO edit, just wanted to share again the final photo from VSCO along with the iPhone RAW photo. So this is what it looks like, and now let's get right to the edit. Alright, so now we are in VSCO. So we're going to select the same photo that we did last time to edit. We're going to go to the Edit tab over here. So immediately VSCO likes to give you a bunch of different presets. I'm going to kind of go through them a little bit. That's kind of nice. This one's probably my favorite so far. Okay. Oh, so these you got to buy in. No, I'll pass. But so we're just gonna go to the edit tab. Maybe we'll come to the presets a little bit later. I'm gonna go to exposure. Same thing as last time. We're gonna bring it down just a little bit to bring back some of the highlights. I'm gonna boost the contrast just a little bit. Okay, sharpen just a tiny bit. So the thing about this app is you can't hold the photo and then see what you're sharpening. So that is where Lightroom kind of comes in handy a little bit more. Has a couple more features. Go to clarity. So as you can see with the clarity, if you bring it all the way up, it's almost like a hyper realism look. That's something I'm not really too fond of, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. Saturation. So as you can see, the saturation only has one tab. Unlike Lightroom, it has the vibrance and saturation. So let's just bring this all the way up and see what it looks like. Kind of just looks, again, hyper real. I'm kind of going for more of a desaturated look. That's kind of good for me. Let's check it before and after. Okay, so there's not too much of a difference, just a little bit of a pop. Skin tone I'm not going to really touch. Vignette, let's see what this pretty much just brings a darker edge around to the corners of the photo. I'm not going to add really much of a vignette here, so I'm just going to cancel that one. Grain, just going to add a tiny bit. If you bring it all the way up, you'll see in the sky, pretty much in the whole image, there's a bunch of noise everywhere. So I'm just going to bring that down and maybe just do like a +1. From there, we're going to go to the fade. The fade is similar to the tone curve in Lightroom, where you could bring that bottom part of the line and bring it upwards a little bit to make it a little bit of a flatter image and more of a vintagey look. So if you bring this all the way up, it's super flat. There's no contrast anymore. The blacks are just crushed. So let's just bring these down a little bit and just have a little slight fade. Okay, next I'm going to skip adjust. I'm going to go to the tone. I'm going to bring down the highlights just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just gonna bring the shadows up just a slight bit. Check before and after. Okay, it's getting a little bit better. White balance, I'm gonna kind of do a similar thing as last time. I'm gonna bring it a little bit warmer. Okay, just gonna make it a little greener. Right. Oh, bring it back just a little bit green. Before, after. Get a little bit more. Kind of like that. Alright, let's go to split tone, see what this does. So this is kind of like the, it's pretty much similar. I didn't really use this in Lightroom last time because I kind of use it more so for sunsets and sunrises, but let's see what the VSCO app kind of does for this. The shadow tint, let's make it a little green. Bring it down just a little bit. Highlights, bluer. I don't know if I like that. I think it doesn't give you much. It doesn't give you too many like customizations here. It's a very general highlight tint, so I'm not really too much of a fan of it. So I'm just gonna cancel that out. And that's pretty much it. Maybe we'll go to adjust again and kind of crop in that image like we did last time. Okay. I remember I liked it kind of on the bottom. Okay, seems about right. Alright, so that's before, that's after, and this is through the VSCO app. Real quick, let's just check some of the presets out after the edit and see how they look. Ew. 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 Okay, maybe we'll bring that down a little bit. Not that bad. I'm actually going to keep that. Alright, so you're just going to click next, save to camera roll, save, and then your photo should be in your camera roll. 1 and 2. Alright, so they're all here. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you're still watching, thank you. So I do use Lightroom, as you know, but VSCO is a great app as well. Both of them have their pros and cons. I do say Lightroom does have a bit more functionality for the professional photographer, but VSCO is just as great for the basic photo editing needs. So I wouldn't count out either one of them. I personally use Lightroom, but that really is it. That's the comparison. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Make sure you comment below, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.